Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Detour Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Dan Jones, joined as always, four-time national champion from Australia and serial promoter of the Lexus of Blackburn Bay Crits, John Trevorrow, who's getting lots of mileage out of his signage. And of course, the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett. Fellas, welcome back to another episode of the show. And Iffy, big week for you, mate, because you had the launch of the Bay Crits. You might as well get the plugs in early, and then we'll show a video later in the show.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to mention it, but now that you brought it up, Dan, yes, we did. We had the launch on Tuesday. There it is, the new UX Lexus 300E. Lexus's first fully electric car, and wow, what a machine! They've really done that well. That will be the lead car of the Lexus of Blackburn Bay Crits.
Talking of machines, look at this guy. He wore a tie and everything.
Oh my God! You could have straightened it, John.
Yeah, well, no one told me.
Mate, when you do a tie, you got to tighten the Windsor knot. Like it's too loose.
Anyway. I did a double Windsor instead of a single Windsor. Sorry about that.
Anyway. And some great promotional photos where it's a classic promo snap when the snapper is like, guys, I've got an idea. Raise your bikes in the air. So we've got them at the car. We've got them down at the water. That's obviously Grace Brown and Luke Plapp. And Matt Kennedy did an interview with them that we're going to show later in the show. But looks like it was a good launch, Iffy.
It was a great launch, a lot of fun, and got some fantastic coverage in major newspapers, Herald Sun and Geelong Addy, the world famous Geelong Addy.
Absolutely.
And SBS and all the electronic media, Velo News, Cycling Tips, Cycling News have all covered it. So, really, really pleased. And it's just so brilliant to have it back. I mean, as you well know, Phil, it's my baby, and we missed it last year. Unfortunately, we can't get the voice of the event, Phil Liggett.
Breaking my heart, I'll tell you.
I know, who normally is with us.
Was that price or COVID?
COVID.
Probably a bit of both, I would think.
No. I always put the price up. I don't ever pay him what I say, but we do it.
I just missed being there, John. Tell me, well, I didn't see the release yet because I've only just got up seconds ago. But, so where are you going for the classic?
Yeah, so because of the whole COVID thing, when we decided to do it, there was still, COVID was an issue. So we decided to just do the 2 days in Geelong. Geelong council actually asked us not to use the hot dog circuit for a change. They wanted us up in the park. So we actually got the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, in the Eastern Gardens. So we do it clockwise on the Saturday, which is the easier way, even though you think it'd be the same. It's the same course. You think it'd be the same, but it's not. And you run down the back straight, and they get halfway up the steep little hill before they even have to pedal. So it's not so hard. That's on the Saturday. On the Sunday, it's anti-clockwise, and it's much tougher because you can climb all the way up from down on the beach right up into the car park. And it's quite a steep little corner, and it turns out to be much, much harder. So looking forward to it. We're having the age group championships, Victorian criterium championships for under 11s, under 13s, under 15s, under 17s, and under 19s for girls and guys, as well as, of course, the elite men and women, and support race for the women again, and of course the Damien Drapac Trophy for the men's support race.
That sounds brilliant. Oh dear, I wish I was there, John. I think we did about 18 of them.
Stop the press.
Well, he's memorised the script fantastic, hasn't he? Really?
Oh, he's just polished now. All this detour stuff that just rolls off the tongue.
And I do like the look of that car, I have to say. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And they're amazing. It's got it's around about 350 kilometres from a charge. But I got to tell you, I never really worry about the price for anything. I couldn't tell you what a beer costs, but fuel is one of my things. So I'm always looking around for. I know where the best service station. Geelong's always about the best price fuel around. I pay $1.57 or something for my
$1.57. We're paying $3.30 here.
Ah, well, there you go. Get ripped off, but that's my diesel. But now. If I had a Lexus 300E, I would have to work on Andrew Moore. Then I wouldn't have to even worry about it. Just plug it in at night, fully charged the next day. More and more charging stations going all around the country, and they give you.
It'll never work for you because we'd say, "Where are you?" You'd say, "I forgot to pop my charge. Charge my car last night. I'll be there in about an hour and a half." Okay.
No, I thought it was plugged in. Bloody cable.
Technology. Yeah, technology and me are not the closest of mates, but I'd love one of those. I got to tell
It's
you.
another job for Kay. I can see it coming on.
Yeah. Now, other big news in the last couple of days, fellas, is of course Leigh Howard has announced his retirement from cycling. He obviously retired from road, went to the track. Last time we spoke to him, he was getting on a plane to head off to the Tokyo Olympics, and he joins us live now. Leigh Howard, welcome to the Detour.
How you doing, guys?
G'day,
Lee. Good to
now,
see you. Mate.
What's this retiring, mate? You're only 32.
Yeah.
Why are you, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a house full. Yeah, no, over it. Need a break, guys. Need a break.
Are you thinking about maybe switching to golf? Because I remember playing golf with you back in the day in Girona at Catalunya.
If you had seen me play yesterday, no chance.
Is that one of the lowlights you think of your time in cycling that day? I took €180 off you in 9 holes.
Good memory.
Yeah, well, it's etched in my bad memory book.
Oh, it's a classic story, Lee.
Mate, it hasn't. I can tell you, it hasn't got any better since that day either.
Well, I foxed you that day because Lee said to me, "Look, we can get on PGA Catalunya, brilliant course, one of the top courses in the world." We went out there and I pretty much threw the first 9 holes, and then we were going to play skins, and then Lee said, "Oh, I should have played skins." I said, "Oh, look, we can the last night if you want. How much do you want? $5 a hole?" He goes, "Nah, make it 20." Yeah, all right. 9 holes.
You're so proud of this 9 you played the back one up.
Yeah. Well, normally we would ask, someone announces their retirement, we go straight in your career. Not on this show, mate. It's all about me.
that one's not.
Well, no, it's usually about me, but Dan, you've taken over. It's good to see.
But honestly, on a serious note, how does it feel now that you've made the announcement and transitioning into the next chapter?
It's a bit weird. Like, it's I've known for a little while, obviously. Since probably a month after the Olympics, I made the decision, but obviously I only announced it yesterday. But just announcing it to the world seemed to make it more real, if that makes sense. It was quite odd. I started having a look back through some old photos, and some people put some photos and videos up online and stuff like that, and it was a bit sad, but at the same time I'm pretty stoked to move on to the next part, something new and exciting. I want to stay in cycling a little bit, and I'm doing a bit of coaching now, and I want to sort of do a bit more of that. But it's good waking up, going home at the same time each night, and whether that lasts forever, I don't know yet. But it's been good so far.
What was your best memory? Sorry, Dan.
Yeah.
What was your best memory, Lee? I mean, you've done it all on the track. You're world champion. Madison with Cam Meyer. You've been inside.
Well, the Olympics are obviously they're right up there, but whether that's because it's fresh in my memory or because it's the best memory, the Olympics, as you all will know, had some highs and lows for us. So I get the most memorable victory I had, track aside, on the road was probably the first one I ever had. But I honestly.
Is that Tour of Oman? Was that the one, Tour of Oman, when you beat Boonen and Bonatti and
Yeah, that was a memorable one. I had a few, but I've thought a few people have asked me that question, and I still don't have an answer, to be completely honest with you all. I'd love to say the Olympics, and the Olympics is right up there, but obviously we had some pretty crappy luck there too with everything. So I
thought you might have said the Tour of Britain just to make me feel good.
And I had a good win there too.
Yeah,
Tour of
and
Britain.
you led the race for a while, didn't you?
Sorry?
You led the race for a couple of days or something.
I led the tour for a little while.
You finished third overall, didn't you? Did you finish third overall in the Tour of Britain?
I was fourth overall, I think. But it was an odd outcome because I was leading the tour, and I'll never forget this. I've told the story quite a few times. Jonathan Locke, who...
Oh, dear.
Yeah, he had a bit of a... I don't know what the final outcome was, but he was.
Nobody does.
Yeah, but he basically attacked on one of the stages and dragged 2 other guys with him for the last 20 Ks, and they never even pulled a turn. Nathan Haas and someone else just sat behind him, and they ended up 2nd and 3rd on GC. So apart from that, I ended up 4th on GC, but I beat Mark Cavendish in a sprint there, and that was a good victory, But would have been nice to actually win the Tour too.
Yeah, that'd been great.
Now, amongst all of the amazing talent, I mean, you twice world champion in the Madison, also world Omnium champion. But in amongst all of that, you managed to get your helicopter license. Is that going to pop up in anything you're doing in the near future?
Oh, I'd love to think so. Yeah, I've done that. It probably took me about 4 years, I reckon. I come and done it every off season. I'd come back to Melbourne and I'd stay at a mate's place, Alex Smythe in Melbourne, and go out train in the morning and head to Moorabbin Airport in the afternoon and train. And so I got that, but I tell you, you would not want to fly with me at the moment because I haven't been in the thing for probably 4 or 5 years.
You're right.
But no, I'd love to be honest, but I don't know, to be honest, the industry enough. I sort of have to get back into it and spend a lot more money because it's not cheap, I can tell you that.
Well, you're in Geelong, aren't you? You could do some joy rides for the Bay Crits and knock the tires off, given that you're not confident.
Mate, you're putting the health and safety of all the riders there.
That's why they're cheap.
I can tell you.
I'll put Dan up there with you in a camera, and you can do some aerial shots.
No, Dan would be too busy shaking if it was me flying.
You'd want good insurance.
Yeah, life insurance, mate.
So you're saying that you're into coaching and things like that. What are some of the key things that you've learned throughout your career, Leigh, that you try and pass on to the next generation?
Well, I'm no science geek. I mean, I like the science of it, but I'm no science geek. So what I'm trying to bring is knowing that it depends if you're talking about your average cyclists who are still working 9 to 5 or your elite athletes. And obviously they're vastly different. But I used to have JD used to coach me, and also Ben Day. And one of the best things about those guys coaching me was the fact that they'd been cyclists, and you could bring them up one morning and say, guys, I'm feeling crap today. Guys, I've absolutely no motivation today. And it was good because I could tell those guys that. And some of the other sports scientists who I had coaching me, if you rung up and told them that, I need a day off because I can't be asked today, they sort of looked at you like, that's not in my grand plan. You know, they like sticking to a grand plan and with no deviations. But that's not real life. And what I kind of want to bring to that is the ability for people to ring me up and say, look, I can't be asked today, fellas. I can't be asked. And that's the reality of life. Even if you're an elite athlete or a guy who works 9 to 5, you're going to have days where you can't be bothered. You're going to have days where you feel crap, and that's just life. And I want to be able to be there for those guys and say, look, it's okay, or say, too bad, you got to go out either way. So it's having that ability to be able to talk to them like humans, I guess, not just machines.
I remember Robin McEwen used to say when he trained, like if he didn't feel good, he'd turn his bike around and ride home, and he wouldn't think twice about it. He said his body almost had a way of telling him, what he needed to do. But as you said, like when in current cycling, do you feel that it really did shift from when you first started to the end in terms of how much they looked at numbers and data, and it took the sort of human element out of the sport?
That's crazy. It's insane. I mean, you look now, there's guys getting contracts that have never raced never won races, never done much racing. They're getting contracts off Zwift. And I might sound like an old bloody pain in the ass here, but that blows my mind that people can get professional contracts off racing on a wind trainer, off an ergo. But that's the way it is now. People are sending their numbers, especially with COVID now, especially when there wasn't a lot of racing going on last year. And I had some of the young blokes that I was racing with on the track team who were obviously they got some contracts. And all the teams were asking for was send us your numbers and give us access to your training peaks and your today's plan and stuff like that, so we can see your numbers online, and then we'll decide from there. And it's just baffles me, but that's the way it's going now. And yeah, you've sort of got to go with the flow a bit, unfortunately.
We've got another guest, very special guest, who's been on the show a couple of times before, and that is, of course, Simon Clarke, who joins the show. How are you, Clarkey?
Hey, guys.
Hello, Simon.
Yeah, Clarkey.
G'day, Phil. Good to see you. Should I be rotating this around?
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's
now I'm upside down.
It'll come good.
Well,
It'll come good. Wait a second.
There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Clarke, you used to race with Leigh on Green Edge back in the day. What were your early memories of Leigh Howard when he joined the team?
I did, yeah. It was. I've got good memories. We actually lived together in Italy for a couple of years. So Leigh and I have been pretty close over the years. He turned pro and came and lived his first few years pro with me in Varese, and so I kind of, from Leigh's point of view, had a pretty good view of his first couple of years of transitioning into the pro ranks, which, as you guys are chatting about with his early wins, he did pretty well straight off the bat.
Now, Leigh, what were your memories of living with Clarkey back in the day? And feel free to lay the boots in. People love it on the Detour, mate.
Here we go.
Memories, jeez. I remember we used to bloody smash that two-stroke scooter. We used to go we used to motor pace each other around the roads of Italy, and it was probably the best motor pacing that I ever had, actually, because we were both bike riders and we knew the roads so well. It was awesome.
Actually, I forgot about that, but it was the funny thing was, normally two housemates would try and talk with their coaches and get them to both write similar training programs so we could train together and we weren't always doing different things every day. But Leigh and I would do the exact opposite, and we would try and do as most, whenever we made sure that when one guy had a rest day, the other guy definitely didn't. And we would alternate motor pacing each other on our rest days. So we would help each other out, and it actually worked pretty good.
That's amazing.
I remember how many times you crashed. Every time I'd actually go with you, you would crash. No, I'm not joking. I reckon it happened 4 times.
This is the stuff we want.
Good stuff.
I think Leigh's frozen. It's as if StreamYard worked out he was going down a rabbit hole.
they hit the bullshit button and he's now frozen.
No, he's been booted.
Oh, he's back.
Oh no, I'm back. Times he crashed.
The system heard you were talking shit and they froze you.
Yeah.
But we were talking to Leigh earlier, Clarkey. Has it changed dramatically in the last 10 years or so since you've been riding, the emphasis on data now?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's just part of cycling evolving, and I'm all for that. I mean, when Leigh was talking about guys signing pro contracts off Zwift, that's kind of taking it to a whole new level, but that's just the way the sport's going, and with technology and that, and using that to quantify riders' qualities, I'm not against, and I like that. But it definitely plays against us older guys that might not be putting out the biggest numbers of the peloton, but we can still match it when we're out on the road.
That was interesting with Jay Vine this year, who got his pro contract from winning a Zwift competition. Went straight in, never met the teammates at the start of the night before the Tour of Hungary, and they told him by his data, we're setting you for GC. So they went completely on his data and set him for GC, and he went second in the damn race.
It was Tour of Turkey, John. Come on,
Tour of Turkey, Hungary. I thought it was Hungary. Turkey, well.
No, you get hungry, but you eat turkey.
That's right.
Whatever.
We got a couple of live comments. Jason Cruz from the Maldives says, "Hello, gents. Are the Bay Crits happening? LOL."
Hey.
Ben,
Hey.
they are definitely happening. He's going to flog this horse.
Oh, there's
early
a
Jan. Ben Wheeler says, "Hey Phil, loved your video message for Todd's Christmas ride. You missed the ripper."
Yeah,
What's that all
I
about?
did. That's the Mornington Peninsula guys. They're a great
yeah?
bunch of guys. So thank you, Ben.
Well, on the flip side, Pushkar says, "Hey Phil, hope you're doing well. You just look slightly under the weather. Cheers. Take care, sir."
I've only been up 5 minutes.
And then Ben said, "What are you talking about, Pushkar? He looks awesome for his age." And g'day to Janice.
That's after 92.
Afternoon all. Great to see Simon. Now, Clarke, obviously talking about contracts, it's been quite a stressful period with Team Qhubeka Assos, given the current situation, and it looks like there won't be a team next year. Where do you currently sit with a contract, and what are the plans at the moment?
Yeah, it's definitely another speed hump in the road for me at the moment, trying to figure out what I'm going to be up to next year. I do have a contract with Qhubeka for next year, but obviously if they don't exist, then that's no longer valid. So I really need to, it's until last week, we were still kind of hopeful that they could find a solution. I believe they're still in negotiations now with a potential new sponsor, but since the UCI made their announcement with the World Tour teams at the end of last week, that's kind of, I think, made things a lot harder for them to be a team next year. So I've got to start looking around now and see if I can find another solution, unfortunately.
Is it one of those things that obviously, it's an unfortunate situation, but you sort of need to know by, I don't know, for people that don't understand how the season works, by July, August, if you're looking for a team for the following year, because, when it gets to sort of December, I mean, riders, staff, the people that are affected by this, you really are left scrambling.
Yeah, I mean, the earlier the better. That's the dream situation. I was just, with all the information I had from the team was, although they're kind of running a bit late, that they're working on it flat out, and they're in the process of finding a solution. Which, speaking to them even in the last couple of days, they're still convinced that there is a solution there. But now they're not only at the mercy of finding a sponsor, but also getting that approval from the UCI. So it's getting pretty late in the piece now, and I think can't really afford to wait too much longer.
I was talking to your brother Danny. He said you're training the house down still, because obviously the Nationals are only a couple of weeks away. And Leigh, does that mean that you're going to be firing up the motor pace and getting Clarke cherry ripe for the Nationals? Because that would be a fantastic story.
Mate, I don't even have a motorbike at the moment. Now, neither of us have got a motorbike. And the motorbike I can borrow off a brother of mine. He, I don't think you'd be motor pacing me on that without going deaf. So, I mean, you're welcome to come down to Geelong anytime, mate. I'll figure something out, but it's a lot of effort.
I'll get my son's. He's got a 1500 Harley. I can get that one. That work well. But look, I just sort of jump in for a second, Dan, because I know that Leigh has to go, and then we'll have a bit more of a talk with Clarke. But so I was just going to ask you, Leigh, because you've had this amazing career, but you rode with some seriously big teams, and you started off with HTC. Columbia, which in lots of ways one of the most interesting teams that ever, it shone like this bright star and then self-imploded and was gone. But when you were there, it was the number one team in the world. Cav was winning races. It was amazing. What was that like in that time you had with HTC?
That was pretty surreal, actually. It was. And looking back, it's really sad that team folded or ended the way it did. And, I think if that hadn't have happened, like my career could have been completely different than what it ended up being. But yeah, it was a big learning curve being in that team. As you just said, some of the riders that were in our team at that time were some of the biggest stars in the world. Yeah, it was surreal. I think Clarke was witness to that, and I loved what I was doing those first couple of years, or as the rest of the years as well. But particularly those first couple of years, I was young. I was in the best team in the world. I was doing what I loved. I was doing lead outs with some of the biggest guys in the world, learning how to sprint from them, and it's like I said, it's really sad that that it folded or ended the way it did, and that happened a couple of times actually. I was with High Road, and then the same thing happened, because that was a fabulous team. But and then the same thing's happening with potentially happening with Simon's team, and the way that the cycling world's set up now, with teams just folding willy nilly like this, it's pretty sad, and they have to do something about it. But that's out of my hands.
Well, we spoke to Adam Hansen about the HCC days, and I think we know why that team exploded, because of old Bobby Stapleton. And he was saying how he used to have this really nice front, but behind the scenes he was ruthless. He didn't want to dip into his own pocket, and he used to have his own printer and would force guys to sign contracts the day before the tour would start, things like that.
Mate, I was lucky. I never had a bad dealing with him, but Christ, have I heard some stories about him behind closed doors. He's ruthless apparently, but I was lucky I avoided all that. Maybe I was, because I was so young, he went easy on me, but he certainly didn't pay a penny more than he had to pay, put it that way.
No.
It sounds to me, and I don't know Lefebvre from the Bar of Soap, but they sound very similar the way they deal.
Well, the only difference is Lefebvre's team's still going strong.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah.
Last one for you, Leigh, because I know you got to go, but from me anyway, is you had 4 years with the Aussie team with Green Edge. What was that like to be part of that as Australia's first World Tour team?
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was really cool being with a lot of the Aussie guys. The last couple, it just got a bit difficult, and still don't know the answer, but my career didn't go on the trajectory that I wanted it to during those 4 years. And I think it was always hard, because I started off on such a high. So it was, when you start off on such a high, like my first race, like we just talked about, I won in Oman, and then all of a sudden you've got a lot of potential, or a lot of expectations. That's the word I was looking for. So it was hard, and then that expectation I was putting on myself, and so those 4 years were really should have been my prime years at that age, or going into my prime years, and it just never quite clicked. And that's why I moved on to IM. But it was great. Like, I can't say a bad word about it. I had a lot of fun. I done a lot of big races with them. We had a lot of fun together, Dan as well. But it was just it was one of those, after 4 years, that was enough, and I needed to try something new. And I think if you stay with any team or any coach is the same too long, it gets stagnant, and you need to move on for a different stimulation.
Last one for me, Leigh. You look back on your career, is there anything that, if you had your time again, you'd tweak, or do you look back pretty content with everything that's happened?
I probably wouldn't have done that extra 9 holes with you.
That's a given. That's a given, mate. You're con that day.
Look, everything happens for a reason. You can look back at a multitude of things during your life, whether it's in cycling or life in general. And of course, you want to change a lot of things, but I try not to think about any of that too much, because the fact is you can't go back and change it. And you just got to move on. And I know that's probably not the answer that you wanted to hear, but that's kind of the way I keep my head on my shoulders at the moment, because looking back doesn't help, I don't think.
No, we just want an honest answer, mate. That was bang on.
Phil, you got a final one for him, Phil?
Well, I was just thinking, I mean, your team pursuit record, Leigh, was fantastic. And I mean, when you did your 358, I think you did 358, didn't you? And a 359. When you went inside that barrier so low, you must have been a great elation in the foursome at the time, because it was really quick when you did it in those days, about 3 or 4 years ago at least.
Yeah, it was. Commonwealth Games was the first big step we took, which was breaking the 350 barrier. That was huge, especially.
Yeah, sorry, 348, and not 350. Sorry,
yeah. And then a year later at the World Championships, going 348. That was another big step. And then, but Christ, in the last 2 years, teams have just been toppling those times, and that's just come down to aerodynamics.
That's progression. That's progression. Yeah, I tell you what, you pissed the Brits off. I remember that, but it was okay. I was working for the Aussies.
I was just going to say, the last one. You talked about the Olympics, but what was it like at the start of the Peak Pursuit, where you're the favourites of the gold, and then to have that malfunction? We still don't know exactly how it happened. What was your thoughts? Where were you in that in the fall?
Well, yeah, we were all. The funny thing is well, actually, it wasn't funny, but the guy who crashed, Alex Porter, we were in Brisbane on the training camp for pretty much 2 months before the Olympics, and out of all 5 of us, he was the most consistent, and he was on another level compared to the rest of us. Even, Sam Welsford and Kel, they're 2 big engines in our team, and he was probably going better than both of them as well. He was absolutely flying. And if you notice that, most of the teams, the guy who starts will also do a bit of a peel, and they won't finish. That'll be their job. He was his plan, because he was going so well, was always to start and to finish. So that was a shame, but when that happened, and after he crashed, obviously they checked all of our handlebars, and mine turned out to have a fracture in them as well. So that was that was lucky that mine didn't break. And then to go into the starting role, that was a big shitting bricks, if I'm honest. Because I trained to be the starter. I trained to be the backup starter, and we done that for probably 12 months on the off chance that I would need to start, but never thinking that it would actually happen. And then obviously it happened that I had to be the starter. So yeah, a lot of things to think about, but yeah, again, it is what it is.
Good stuff, mate. Well, you should be really proud of your career, mate, and we obviously wish you all the best for the next chapter. Thanks for joining us on the detour, mate, and I look forward to having hit a golf with you down the Ballerine pretty soon.
Yeah, mate, I've been playing a fair bit, so come down.
All right, mate. Good on you, Lee.
Have a good Christmas.
See you, mate.
See you guys.
Leigh Howard, we're going to take a quick drinks break, and then we're going to be chewing Simon Clarke's ear off. Stay tuned.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Life is like a two-way street. It's about consideration and mutual respect. Roads are much the same. However you get around, walk, ride or drive, if we share our roads, we can all be safer. The Amy Gillett Foundation is Australia's peak cycling safety charity. Our mission is for safe cycling in Australia. Our vision is for 0 cyclist deaths. Over the last year, we've seen an enormous increase in people taking up cycling, whether it be for recreation, with the family, commuting, or even to start your own cycling career. We need to do more to make it safer for every cyclist. 20 cyclists every day are hospitalised and 1 cyclist is killed every 10 days on Australian roads. So, the next time you jump on your bike or hop in your car, remember to practice the 4 C's. Be courteous, calm, considerate and conscientious. Every cyclist's death is preventable and we all deserve to get home safely. Please donate to help the Amy Gillett Foundation make the roads safer for you and for me.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange and the Amy Gillett Foundation. Now, Clarkey, one of the favourite segments that we sometimes do on the Detour is this one.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Detour Delorean time, 2013. This is the classic Clarkey stitch-up from France. I can't remember what stage it was, maybe stage 14. I think Albacete ran second, and you smart asses thought you'd play a little bit of a prank at the dinner table. So let's have a look.
So here we are, stage 15, but today we're not worrying so much about the stage and more about a bit of payback after Dan gets quite a bit of video footage of us. Last night we tried to get a bit of video footage of him.
So, the cinnamon challenge. You want to tell people what you did there? Because people have died from that. People have died from that, Simon.
That is just so funny every time you watch it. Like the first time, every time. So good. So I actually, before that day, I'd never heard of the cinnamon challenge. So your example of how it works was just so well done that it's just that should be the gold standard.
So what the challenge was, I think, so Albacini's run second. Everyone was feeling a bit flat. We're sitting around the dinner table, and he should have won. Remember, it was like a tyre width, and he just got pipped on the line. And then that night, you guys were all talking like little kids on a school camp. And then Simon Guerin said, "Hey, Jonesy, did you hear that it is impossible to swallow a teaspoon of cinnamon? And if you can do it, we'll give you like €100. I said, €100 to swallow a teaspoon of cinnamon? Yep, do it. And as soon as you put it in your mouth, it just bang, it just goes through your nose and so forth. But that's not the only time you guys stitched me out, because I remember another time I made you all a lasagna and you guys stitched me on that one as well.
This was a good one too. Yeah. Yeah, so we were up in the Ardennes, I think maybe the year later in 2015. And we're up there for 10 days, but you only do 3 races. So you kind of got generally quite a few days between each race. And so you and Nicky Strobel, the chef, decided to have a bit of a cook-off, I believe. And both made lasagnas. And so we came down to dinner to 2 differently made lasagnas. And Jonesy was all proud of his and couldn't wait to try it. And so, but he came down late. So while he was still up in his room, we'd polished most of it off and saved him a slice. And we loaded it with every piece of chili we could find in the layers, and then delicately put the top layer back on.
Mate, I remember.
And he goes down, and I never forget, he sits down and he's like, "I'm going to smash this lasagna right now." And he just starts eating it, and the forehead would just got redder and redder and redder, and he starts wiping it. And we were just on the ground in tears.
Where's the vision of that? We need the vision of that.
Well, I just remember the time thinking,
I think it was like a
I just thought, how nice is this group of riders? You know, they've saved me a piece. I was really appreciative. And then I was pretty hungry, so I was woofing it down. Then I got about halfway through, and I thought, geez, that's got a bit of spice. And then by the end, oh man, it was just panic stations, grabbing milk, cream, whatever I could. But I thought it burned when I ate it. It burnt way more the following day. Let's just put that way.
Now, I'll tell you what I did like when I watched that little video. We need to get a little bit of a shot of you back in the 2005 Detour, Dan, and then that one we just saw, and now to see the hair reduction. Just what I noticed. That's all.
I watched that, and when you start losing the hair, you just got to buzz cut it. You just got to concede, buzz cut it. Don't hold on to the tusk. Like, it looks terrible. But
look at Clarke. What a head of hair. He's always had a great head of hair. Looking good. Looking good.
My dad's got a very similar head of hair, and he's still going strong. So I'm hoping that I can follow suit in that retrospect.
Yeah. So is the plan now, Simon, to just really make a go at obviously the nationals, and then just take it as it comes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still remaining optimistic, and I really hope I can find a solution. And I'm going to race January here in Australia, and then I'll head back to Europe in February, and hopefully I can find some kind of solution. Obviously, I can't be too picky on what comes about, and I'm open to all kinds of solutions. But I'm definitely not ready to stop yet, and I would really like to keep racing. So I'm pushing on, and hopefully in this time here in Australia, I'll be able to find a solution before I head back.
I've got one for you. The first one.
A solution or a question?
No, solution. The Bay Crits. Now, this year, the Bay Crits.
There it is.
8 to 9. And the hot dog's not there. It's on the big circuit. Perfect for you, mate. And you win the Bay Crits, mate. The world sees it. The world sees it. So, yeah, that's my. I'll throw that in the ring right now. I'll build a team around you, mate.
Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, I mean, I'm up for racing in January here in Australia, which I will do, and then I'll head back to Europe after that, and hopefully find a solution.
Phil,
will you get down to the Festival of Cycling, Simon, down in?
Yeah, that's the plan. I was actually talking with Stewie just before coming on with you guys, and I'm going to go over and race.
Stewie will accept your entry, mate. Stewie will accept your entry. Do you remember that time you both came over to that race in Singapore, the OBCB?
I do. I do.
It was quite an unusual race, wasn't it, around the Monaco?
Was that Robbie McEwen's last race? Or was that the year after?
No, year after, I believe, yeah.
It was yes, because and Robbie won it, of course, and it was a well-taken win. He got on the breakaway and stayed away with 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. But Stewie won the one you rode, didn't he?
I won it, actually.
You won it. You won it. That's right.
Here I am with Stuart O'Grady, kind of racing with one of my idols, and I'm racing the whole crit thinking that I'm going to try and lead him out in some way. Yeah. And we come to about 2 laps ago. He goes, I don't want to borrow this sprint, mate. It's all yours. And I said, well, take me down the back straight and I'll see what I can do. And there was like 4 or 5 90-degree corners between the back straight and coming round onto the front straight, which is part of the Singapore F1 course. And so he just led me out down the back straight into the first of these, 5 corners. And I just went full gas through all of them and came out the final corner with 10 length lead and managed to hold the group off coming into the sprint. So it was a good bit of fun. We just finished the Ardennes, and kind of that's our bit of mid-season break for us. So we're all pretty relaxed coming into it.
So after that race, 2 beers, and thanks for your job today, boys. I'm going to have an early one.
Yeah, I mean, we caught a flight home 2 days later, and I don't know how we got it. But the rest is history.
We had
a bit of fun up there.
The other big breaking news over the last couple of days is the wean dog. He's heading back to the kennel. He's signed on as a sports director at Bike Exchange Jayco next year. You obviously raced and got to know the Weendog pretty well. How do you think he'll go as a sports director?
Yeah, I actually just literally read that news this afternoon. It's great. I think he'd be a great director.
No
and
nonsense.
I'm really looking forward to seeing him progress with Bike Exchange. And I think it's on their behalf. I think it's a good signing. I think that he'll be a great director. And Weeno seems like this real nice, guy, but when he's got some grunt to him, once he gets on a train of thought, he goes with it. So I think that's a good characteristic to have as a director, because you feel like a lot of directors these days are so in the process of numbers and organisation and logistics, and they kind of sometimes lose a bit of that, get out there and let's mix this race up and win the thing kind of thing. So I think he'll be a good guy for that.
It'd be great. Now, the Weendog, Peter Weening, is a legend in sail. There's a lot of stories that come from Gippsland. He
knows more people in sail than I do.
Yeah. He's a lot more well-liked in sail than you are too, Dan.
Well,
but
that's
anyway,
easy.
Story. But when he won that, he won a great stage in the Giro. And it was my birthday, so they whacked me into the car, into the DS car behind him that day, and it was sensational to follow it and watch him win. And that night, big champagne came out, and then they brought the cake out for my birthday as well, so I remember it really well.
Well, this is just continuing the trend of bringing it all back to ourselves. Now, it's your turn now, John.
What we do. It's a connection. Show the connection.
What were you doing on that day?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where were you, Dan? You weren't there.
I was at the finish line. He
was filming.
The first thing he said to me, he goes, "Emus won a shitload of money." Because I told him at the start that my dad had backed him, and he was at the football and told 20 people to get on him at like 30-1. The first thing he said to me, he goes, "Emus won a shitload of money." He loved it. So, it was good times.
Fantastic.
But on the sports director, I mean, you raise a good point. What or who's been the best sports director you've had throughout your career, and what do you look for in a good sports director, Clarke?
Good question. Putting my finger on the best director, I'd have trouble doing, but I think that obviously having been around a bit now and there's kind of new school directors and old school directors, and previously a good director was just knowing how to win a race, having experience on knowing how to win a race and being able to communicate that to a team and helping them win, winning it, not necessarily winning it from the car, but coming up with a winning plan from the car. And I have to say that one person who was able to win races when I thought, that I'd not necessarily written myself or the team off for that particular day, stage or race, but was able to pull off wins and big results was Neil Stevens. He's just got this, he wants to win as badly as the riders do, and he just can't. Every day he'd come up with a plan, come up with a way to win a bike race, and I feel like whenever he was at races, we won a lot more races just because of his focus on winning. And as much as we like to sit down and say, it's not all about winning, and it's everyone should just try their best. When you're at this level, at the end of the day, it is a lot about winning, and no one often remembers who comes second. And I think that as much as it is important to give your best, we need to remember that a lot of it is about winning, and maybe focusing on that, giving it more importance than maybe some people do these days.
That's a great answer, mate. Now, I've got a private message from John. We can message each other on this StreamYard. And he said, "Can you please let Phil ask a question?" Sorry, Phil. I've spent all the time talking about myself.
Listen.
John's talking about himself. What do you want to? How can we blend you into all of this?
Well, I'm happy and content to listen to three Aussies at play. I can tell you. Where exactly are you, Simon? Because it looks like you must be in Queensland or somewhere. It looks a lovely day out there.
I'm actually in the Dandenongs in Melbourne.
Oh wow!
So I can show you here. We've got a bit of a view out.
Yeah,
That's
great.
Mount Donabuang in the background there.
That's
Yeah.
That makes me even more
out in the side room.
not coming back.
I had to laugh.
Yeah.
I had to laugh. I was talking to you just showed that beautiful shot of Mount Donabuang. I was talking to Simon earlier, and I said, "Where you been today?" He's just been, a couple of laps up and down Mount Donabuang. He said, "I used to think it was a big mountain. I can't. These mountains just aren't tall enough for him anymore."
No, unbelievable. I think the last time we actually. Sorry, Simon. I'm trying to get.
No, you're right. Yeah, do it. Jump in.
You know it's bad when we overtalk the voice of cycling constantly.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Paul Sherwin never did that.
No.
Listen, the last time we actually spoke, Simon, was that race in Singapore, which was about 2008 or 9, wasn't it? It was quite a while ago.
It's been a while. I
talk about you a lot on TV, but I really admire this style of racing because you're always in the mix, and I think you're a terrific, still great value for a sponsor. And I sure hope you get a contract, mate, because
thanks very much. I mean, I feel like I can got more to give, and particularly with these young guys, they can do the numbers, but a lot of them aren't quite good enough at riding their bikes yet, and I feel like I can teach them some of that. But one of my big projects has been Michael Woods, actually. So we both came to Cannondale EF in 2016 together, and he'd come from Spider Tech, I believe, one of the Canadian team, and it was his first year in the World Tour. And I was 5 years teammate with him, and I just saw the potential he had as the numbers he could do. But he just was brand new to cycling, brand new. And he got obviously so quickly up to the World Tour because he was so talented, but he didn't know anything about riding in a group or where to ride, how to ride. And I kind of really made a big effort to follow his, to help him out. And I just said, if you listen to me, I can help you go places. And not that I'm sitting here claiming what he's been able to achieve, but I do feel like I've been a big part of his development, and to see now how well he rides in a bunch and at the front of big races, whether it's Liège or the World Championships in Austria, he's had some great results. And, you can have all the numbers you want, but you don't arrive sprinting for a world title with Valverde and Bardet if you don't know how to
get there.
Ride in a bunch and ride a 260k race at a world level and do everything that goes along with that.
I'm sure he appreciated your support there, because he was really green when he came over.
He mentions us often, and he's very appreciative of me.
Give him a call tonight, mate, and see how appreciative he is. He might be able to get
on the team.
Get you in, mate.
No, we're in constant contact. Don't worry, I'm sourcing all contacts currently, so there's no stone unturned right now. I'll be turning the turnstone soon.
I'd like to whack. This is the time for me to whack something. Sorry, I said we shouldn't let Phil talk, and I'm jumping in on top of it. It was the right.
Sorry, but you're not.
I know. I am sorry, but
I'm okay.
I just got to say, your career is definitely not done.
No.
I actually reckon I equate you a little bit with Gero, who just improved with age like a fine wine, and you have as well. Some of your best rides have been in the latter part of your career, and that ride in Amstel Gold is just a couple of years ago now, I guess, but I still, I'll get you to talk us through that in a minute, because even though we did mention it in an earlier podcast, our numbers have doubled since then, so we need to let the newbies know about it.
You're talking yourself up to show up.
But seriously, you have been a brilliant cyclist, and your career is you've won some great races, been a fantastic road captain.
Sun Tour.
And you won the Sun Tour.
Yes.
The Jayco Herald Sun Tour. Come on, mate.
Did you ever
Top of the
ride
list.
the classes?
Yeah. But your leadership has just gotten stronger and stronger. So I can't believe there's not a team out there who wouldn't just go, wow, we can't let this opportunity go by. So hopefully, with this huge audience of ours worldwide, someone watches this and goes, yep, you did right. Simon's the man.
Fingers crossed, yeah. No, I've definitely got more to give to the sport. And, even this year with racing with Qhubeka, it's definitely been my most challenging year of my career. I broke 2 vertebrae in my spine in the stage 3 of the Tour de France, and stupidly rode out the Tour de France to Paris with 2 fractured vertebrae, and then also broke. I was in the front group of 10 or 12 of us in Roubaix at the end of the year in the mud, and for those of you who didn't recognize me, I was the guy that nearly crashed Wout van Aert in the famous Arenberg Forest. Unfortunately, front wheel punctured on the downhill section going quite fast, and before I knew it, I was on my head and broke my wrist, and found out at the finish line that I couldn't get my glove off and that things probably weren't as they should be. So it's been a tough year for me, but I was top 10 in Strade Bianche this year, and I had a little period there where things did click for me really well, and so I take confidence from that I know that if I can just put everything together as I know how, and can not have any bad luck, that I can still compete at the world level as long as I can just keep things upright.
Well, that's one thing that, as you mentioned, you can't get it in data as experience. It's like what you'd bring to the culture of a team. And, people often talk about, Clarke, the road captains. How important is it on the road to have someone, and the rate teams are going now, that everyone's looking for the next young gun. They're going, they only have to be 20, 21, 22. But without the right mix of older and young, it's not going to click. Like, how important is that road captain role in a squad?
Yeah, I believe it's still very important. It does vary from team to team, I suppose. If you have a team, I suppose, let's say like Lotto Jumbo at the Tour de France this year, and they've just got a stacked team of talent and experience from Van Aert and Roglic and Tony Martin and all the other helpers there. The guys they have a team that are all experienced, and so they can actually lead a group like that from the team car, because they don't need to be telling them so much where to ride and how to do it, but just focus on the game plan. But there's not many teams that can field a team like that, and even if they can at every other race, they're not necessarily sending such an experienced team, and that's where the experience on the road really comes into hand, and just keeping the guys united. And at the end of the day, all you're doing is ensuring that the team plan from the director that was on the bus is being executed properly. But guys can be getting that wrong without even knowing, by trying to help the team too early and their jobs later on. And if they do that, use that energy earlier, then they're not there later in the piece, which is more important. So even just telling guys to calm down and wait their turn, and don't get excited. Everyone wants to help, but there's no use doing at the wrong time and not being there to support them in the finish or whatever the objective is.
Well, mate, you definitely deserve a contract, that's for sure, because you've still got a couple of good years left at least. Anything you want to add, Phil, before we let Clarke go?
I just wish you a very happy Christmas, as far as I'm concerned, Simon. I really hope you.
Thanks very much, Phil. It's great to see you. And Merry Christmas to you guys too.
Yeah.
I
Enjoy
really
it,
do
mate.
hope you
I
break
will be in touch to negotiate the bay crits. We'll talk about that later.
At least you got a ride.
I better stop riding up Donabuang and start riding around in circles.
More punch.
No. It's got a hill. It's got a hill in the bay crits now, so you'll be laughing. You'll be all good, mate. And we need to just. Phil's got his final African safari right on this weekend.
I was going to mention that. I was going to mention that once we let Simon go.
Actually, there's a connection because Nick Lamini is coming on to ride my little safari, which is from South Africa. And he's also probably in the same situation as you, isn't he, Simon? He hasn't got a contract.
I believe so, yeah. There's a lot of us hanging out for any news.
Yeah, being a South African, it's very difficult to make talk, but there we are.
Tom Maloney says, I can vouch for Simon's dad having a good head of hair, but he also has a very good head. I had a chat with him at the track in Melbourne many years ago. So there you go. Tell your old man he's got a good head on him.
That's it. I will.
Yes.
Good on you, Simon. Really appreciate
Great,
you.
Guys. Thanks for chatting.
All the very, very best, Simon.
I'll be putting 50 large on you to win the Nationals, mate. I think.
No pressure.
Thanks, mate.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Good on you, Clarke. See you, mate.
All the best, son.
Simon Clarke, legend. Now, we did have a comment, Phil, from the Free Ranger, who's a regular. He says, Phil, how's Qhubeka faring at the minute? Now, before we do an update, do we want to show the promo first?
Yes, by all means.
All right, let's show the promo, and then we'll give a Qhubeka update.
Hi, everyone. It's Phil Liggett here, and it's time to get my African safari on the road again. We're heading back to the Qhubeka Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, where animals, including the rhino, roam freely. We did 4 great rides in June, and now, with 2 new ones, we're set to go again. There will be eminent guests to answer your questions on the wildlife and also offer an opportunity to win amazing trips to Qhubeka. We'll chat to one another, and you don't even have to ride, thanks to Fulgaz, who will set you up to watch on Zoom when you enroll and make a donation. We have 4 rides, 1 per month, starting on September 19. They last an hour, and if you have a smart trainer, you can pedal your way through the reserve, or you can just sit back with a cup of tea. In either case, knowing that your participation is helping keep the animals safe and free to roam. Come and join me, and all the information you need to have is at qhubeka.co.za/peloton, and let's go.
Yeah, how's it all been going, Phil?
It's been going fantastic, and thank you for that question as well, because it's much appreciated. I think we can honestly say that my African Safari Peloton has saved Qhubeka Game Reserve from extinction. And this is a wild, wild place with all the animals roaming wild, including, of course, the rhino. It's been a dreadful last 2 weeks in Africa, where some 36 rhino have been killed. The carcasses have been found in the period of 7 days all over South Africa. But Qhubeka, nothing, because we managed to pay for the anti-poaching boys. And we've earned, just you guys, the people who've come on board over this last 6 months, have actually earned just over $50,000.
Wow.
Which is terrific. And when you speak to Qhubeka, they will tell you this has saved them from extinction. So thank you very, very much. This is the last one coming up. It's December the 19th, the last one. It's not favourable to the Australians, sadly. It's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, your time. It is 3 p.m. here in London, and that makes it 5 p.m. in South Africa. So it's more favourable to the USA. That's how we've alternated it throughout time. USA have been very, very generous as well. I've made some great friends along the route, same people turning up, making donations, riding, enjoying the scenery. Hopefully in April, we will get to Qhubeka Game Reserve with a select bunch of 16 people who've decided to come with us for 6 days rather. And boy, are they going to be fated when they get to Qhubeka after what they've done over these past 6 months. But the situation, if anything, is worsening. Okay, we've saved it in the area where I live in Africa, a place called Griki, and in Qhubeka also. But elsewhere, the Kruger Park is corrupt, and they're getting all the information as to where the rhinos are from people that work there, and they've got to dig them out and get rid of them. But only fight and keep the animal alive. But I think we're probably down to the last 1,500, 2,000 animals in the wild, in the world, and that's not the name of the game.
They were dehorning
that's working.
rhinos. So obviously they're not doing it everywhere, because if they were dehorned, they wouldn't have been killing them, would they?
Well, it's true, but even the root of the horn, the problem is that COVID, in a strange way, I think has helped us until now, because there was no way to get the horn out the country, because there was no airplanes to fly it out the country. It would go out to Philippine Islands, it would go to Vietnam, wherever, but there's no flights been going there. But it's getting a bit, flights are coming back into being, especially to the places where the horn's delivered. There's been some heavy jail sentences too, very heavy, like life in prison, people caught with rhino horn. But the message doesn't seem to get to the base, to the roots. It's a big mafia setup, and these guys are very dangerous, of course. They've got AK-47s. The rangers that we are supporting are armed as well, and very often it's a case of kill or be killed. There's huge money involved. We can only do what we can do, but I'll tell you, the cycling community have been at the very top of the defense of the rhino in Africa, as far as I'm concerned. If you speak to Qhubeka, anybody that says they were part of Phil Liggett's African peloton, I think will be welcomed in Qhubeka with open arms and really feted.
One day we will get over there, Phil. We don't know how, but we will get there.
We've got to. We're hoping to get over in April. I've never been there, by the way. Lindy, who is the CEO of Qhubeka, I've only met. I made a video for someone that she knew, and she rang me up, and that's how it all started, about a year and a half ago.
Well, it's a fantastic cause, and you know, the more that people keep giving, the more great work they can do. So, as
absolutely.
you said, amazing support. That's
I should
a
say
great story.
that on the ride this December 19th, we are drawing those two prizes. For once we got through the $35,000 target, it triggered a prize to stay at Qhubeka. One is, I think, for 4 days. One is for 6 days on the house, and it's we're drawing those prizes on the 19th of December. So you never know; you might be going.
Fantastic, mate. Iffy, anything you want to add before we wrap up? I remember saying to you at the start, short and sharp tonight, mate. 30 minutes. We're an hour and 7.
It's always the way. Hey, but I find these chats more interesting. I'm very happy.
When did you get a word in?
New mantra. It's a new mantra. 30 minutes, short, sharp. We've never done it. We've never done it. Anyway, I just want to thank you heaps, Phil.
Yeah, for sure.
Even up to only a couple of weeks ago, I was still hoping that we'd be able to get Phil over for the summer, but it just
that's gone crazy. It's got to end now. We've got to learn to live with it. It is not going away. It's going to be with us for the foreseeable future of our lives. So let's get on with our lives and stop.
It's getting a bit ridiculous, actually.
It's totally ridiculous.
An Australian captain,
I think it could bring down the British government at the moment.
Australian cricket captain is not playing in the test in Adelaide because of a close contact. It's just you got to be kidding. I mean, it's just over the top.
Governments feel a responsibility, but they've got it wrong totally in every country in the world so far. Don't care what they say.
Well, hopefully 2022 is going to be a lot better than 2021, because you put that and 2020 pretty much into the bin. There's been a lot of highlights, though, from a detour perspective. But
2022 we'll be all together at the Tour de France.
Yes,
and
it'll
we're going.
Yeah, off to a cracking start with the Bay Classics launching the season. It can't go wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Good on you, Phil.
As John said, massive thanks to you, Phil, because it's probably the last time we'll have a chat before at the end of the year. But you've been fantastic for the show this year, mate. And if we could have helped out in any way whatsoever with the Qhubeka stuff, fantastic story as well. And mate, we look forward to a massive year next year as well.
Yeah. Well,
last thing from me is that I can't. I'm sorry that I can't do Sunday night at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is it Sunday night? Yeah, because of the prior engagements. But I know that Dan will hold up the detour tradition, and he'll be a part of it.
Yeah, there's a bus just driving down there, and if he's just chuck me straight.
I don't expect you guys, but I do appreciate what you've done for us in the past. I just wish you all a great New Year and have a great Christmas. And let's hope that 22 is a lot better. At least we've got a full cycling season this year. And I've just
That's
been
right.
told that I am actually commentating on the Women's Tour de France as well next year rather. So that's going to be, life still goes on. And
Yep. Do you think
it.
you'll be going to that's interesting, Phil. Do you think you'll be actually doing at the tour this next year?
Yes, but definitely. But it'll just be the commentary
sensational.
team. We're not taking the production team. They will stay in the USA, but we will be on site the whole way around. The women's race, we may transfer back to London overnight and continue in London because it's a cost thing and a change of camera crew and everything. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to affect your traditional Monday rosé lunch in Paris, John, because you're going to be following the women's tour as well, isn't it?
I was thinking of doing the first day on the Sunday and catching up on the Tuesday. We'll see how we go.
Well, thanks again, Phil. Thanks for everyone
All the
tuning
best,
in.
guys.
Thanks, Simon
Lovely.
Clarke. Thanks, Leigh Howard. Thanks, Iffy. And we'll see you again. When are we back, John? Next Sunday.
We're on Sunday. We're now, yes, we better tell all the listeners we've got a special edition on Sunday with Whitey because Matt Whitey is actually on a plane right about now. I think he just would have been.
You know what we should do? We need to get Ween Dog on as well. Whitey and the Ween Dog, like we did last time. Sounds like an 80s TV show. Whitey and the Ween Dog.
Sounds like a good
we'll
idea.
line them up. We'll line them up.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Thanks again, Phil. Merry Christmas.
All the best. All the best. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Bye.